And gentlemen, we are back to Brit and Jake Go to the Movies. I'm Britton,
I'm Jacob.
and today we continue our Spider-Man-a-thon with the second MCU outing of the webhead, Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Oh yeah.
Man, I've had a pretty busy week, like we were talking about this
I
before.
yeah.
I've been watching a lot of things. I've been catching up on a lot of things, really. I I started watching the Snyder Cut, which I have some opinions on, but we'll wait for another time to talk about that movie. Also watched Batman: The Long Halloween last night, the adaptation, which was really good, by the way.
Still have yet to see.
Very good. Aside from the animation looking a little wonky in places and
Mhm.
some character stuff, pretty damn good movie. Or both of them. It's a two-part movie, you know. But it's not like dumb, you know, like the Hunger Games or Divergent.
Oh yeah.
I hate those
Barf.
fucking movies. The Divergent movies.
Especially
I hate the
Divergent.
books. I hate the books too. Hunger
Wow.
Games okay.
Damn. If the books are bad, man, no wonder why the movies suck.
Oh, the books are abysmal. It's just that's no question, sir. Like, oh man. So yeah, but we're talking about Spider-Man Far. We also saw Spider-Man No Way Home, which I won't talk about too much because we'll wait till next week, unfortunately. But we're really excited to talk about that movie. Are you excited, Jacob?
Oh, I'm beyond excited. I'm like, fuck Far From Home. I want to talk about No Way Home.
Yeah, I know. We were both like, damn it, why are we talking about Far From Home this week? We should have started it earlier. But we're talking about Far From Home. And, yeah, so we're talking about Far From Home. Um, Far From Home, not a bad film. I should say that. This is probably my, after No Way Home, this is probably my least favorite MCU Spider-Man movie right now. But,
Mine
it
too.
is still a pretty good movie, though. Like, it's not bad.
Oh. Oh yeah.
It's not like Spider-Man 3 where it goes from, like, good to, like, really cringy and bad. And it's
No.
not a dumpster fire like the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Like, this is a good movie. Like, it's paced very well. For the most part, the villain's really good for the most part, even though I have issues with it from time to time. Basically carries over the strengths of Spider-Man Homecoming, but sadly I don't think it's as good as Homecoming. I think Homecoming's
No.
better than this movie.
Oh yeah. Far From Home, as you said, it has some of the strengths that Homecoming had, but also the weaker aspects.
Yeah, I mean, some of the humor doesn't quite. We'll get to it, but just
Yes.
mainly the humor doesn't land, and some of the motivation is just a little weird. But again, we'll get to it. But I like this movie.
Yeah, me too.
Just to clear the air, I do like this movie. It is not a bad. Tom Holland has not made a bad Spidey movie yet. Like, I haven't seen a movie where I'm like, this is dumb, and he just happens to be in it. He's made pretty good Spidey movies so far, but I think Homecoming and No Way Home, spoilers, are better than this movie.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. What do you think, Jacob, about this film?
This Far From Home. For me, this is the most this is the Spider-Man movie that's like, it's a really good movie, but it's not great, but it's not terrible either. It's not like Spider-Man 3 where it's like very underwhelming, or like the Amazing Spider-Man film where underwhelming, others terrible. But this one is really good. I must say, when I first saw it in theaters, I loved it, and I thought it was better than Homecoming.
Oh.
But after watching it multiple times, it lost a few notches on one of my favorite Marvel movies. I still enjoy it. It's a solid sequel, but I much prefer Homecoming. But this is a pretty good one.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it doesn't get me as excited as Homecoming does, but it is still a pretty good movie. I think if this were like your regular teen comedy about a kid who just happens to have superpowers, it would be great. But I hate saying this because the Iron Boy Jr. people often annoy me. but it just doesn't always feel like a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. This is where I'll kind of side with the Iron Boy Jr. haters, even though I freaking hate the Iron Boy Jr. haters.
I actually have a little funny story, but continue what you were saying, or were you done saying what you were saying?
Oh yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Despite being annoyed with the Iron Boy Jr. haters, I'll kind of side with them on this one because I semi-Phantom Menace. I didn't Phantom Menace it like Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I was like, it's a Spider-Man movie. I don't think it's Iron Boy Jr. I think you're being too hard on it, but after multiple viewings, I'm like, okay, now I can see why people are getting annoyed, because this is the least Spider-Man movie where it feels like a Spider-Man movie, where in Homecoming I was like, okay, that's a Spider-Man movie. Or the Tobey films, or even the Andrew films, as much as I hate to say it.
No, sorry. If I do...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Again. We can't see each other.
But the story and all that, linking to Iron Man, yeah. But I'm done.
Oh yeah, if I do sound different, I am kind of sick, so if you hear me blowing my nose a little bit, that's why. I feel better today, but my nose is still stuffy, so that's annoying. But yeah, this is like, if you pulled a gun on me and asked what film I preferred, I'd say Homecoming. And a little funny story from the other day, after I saw No Way Home, I was talking to Carlton about it, and we had a little spat about Homecoming.
Oh yeah, he told me.
Oh, he told you? Oh man, our buddy Carlton, he's more critical of these movies than we are. Like, I like the MCU Spider-Mans, and Jacob is pretty and I'm kind of the same way as Jacob here. I liked this movie a lot more when I first saw it, but when I've seen it again, I think, it's not a bad movie, like I said, but it's fine, and it doesn't always feel like a Spider-Man movie. Like, the characters kind of feel wonky. Like, nothing really feels right in this movie. There's something not right in this movie. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
Something feels off in this.
Yeah, there is something that feels off. I can't put my finger on it, but...
But aside from that, it's not a bad movie. And yeah, me and Carlton had a little spat about Homecoming the other day. He kind of just was like, oh man, he's depending on the technology and stuff. I'm like, dude, that's the fucking point of the movie. Like...
But you know what? I'm kind of happy because Carlton, he loved No Way Home, so...
Yeah, he really loved No Way Home, and spoiler alert, so did we. And we'll be talking about that shit next week. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait for next week.
Yeah, my dad's like, man, why don't you just talk about No Way Home? You know, that's a current movie that just came out. I'm like, dude, that's why I've been doing Spider-Man movies since November.
Yeah, but you have to keep it consistent.
But yeah. But Far From Home. I remember I saw this with my dad, like I did with No Way Home and Homecoming. I like to see movies with my dad, as you can tell. But yeah, I enjoyed it. But yeah, my blurb thoughts really are, this is a good movie, a solid 4. If I were a little harsher on this, it would probably be 3.5 stars, but I'm gonna give it 4, because I did genuinely enjoy this. There are things to like about this movie, and I think it is a well put together story. It's just, again, like I said, something kind of feels off about this movie. Something feels wrong, like, something's off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so this movie stars our boy Tom Holland. We got Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, which, oh boy. We got Jake Gyllenhaal as one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, and Jacob and Carlton and anyone who I know can attest to this. Mysterio is one of my favorite villains ever. Favorite Spidey villains, anyway.
Oh yeah, you adore Mysterio.
Oh my god, I love Mr. Fishbowl. I love Fishbowl Head. Which that's one of my gripes of this movie. He doesn't wear the fucking fishbowl all that much. He's fucking Jake Gyllenhaal. But anyways, So, okay, let's get into the meat of this movie before I start ranting about Mysterio. So basically, we're in Mexico. We start in Mexico, and Nick Fury and Maria Hill are in this movie, and you're like, oh, hello there. And Samuel Jackson, he's Samuel L. Jackson, man. He's awesome. I mean, I think his best performance in the MCU is still the Winter Soldier, but he's pretty good in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the chick who plays Maria Hill's name, but she's fine. Oh, God. So they're investigating this unnatural storm in Mexico and end up having a throwdown with this, elemental thing. It's an earth elemental, apparently, according to Wikipedia, which, of course, is always to be trusted. Yuck, yuck, yuck. And then they meet Fishbowl Head himself, Quentin Beck, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. I gotta say, I have complaints about Mysterio in this movie, but I really like Jake Gyllenhaal as the character.
Oh, yeah. When they announced that Jake Gyllenhaal was going to play Mysterio, I was like, perfect casting, and Jake Gyllenhaal, fantastic actor, one of my favorite actors ever. I mean, Nightcrawler. I made a bunch of other movies. When I heard that he was going to, once again, when I heard that he was going to play Mysterio, I was like, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, okay, I'm like, all right, I like this character, okay,
Mm-hmm.
But again, he doesn't wear the fucking fishbowl that much, but that we won't get there yet. We won't get there. But Quentin Beck kind of comes off as this superhero type, I guess, and he helps to defeat this creature. And then Beck is like, yo, what's up? And Fury and Maria Hill are like, yo, you should join S.H.I.E.L.D. He's like, hell yeah. So that's what he does. What do you think of this first scene?
So far, this opening scene, not too bad. It's making us think that Mysterio is going to be this hero, but being like a huge Spidey fan, I know it's not where it's going to go, but, I was like, oh, not too bad.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw this, I'm like, huh. So, okay, are they really going to try and, make Mysterio a villain? Because I, half expected to drop the ball and reveal, oh, he's the villain, which, again, we'll get to. But I'm like, oh, man, when they gonna do that? Because, he's fucking Mysterio, man. He's one of Spidey's most famous villains, Yeah. But yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal. One of the things I really like about this movie are the action sequences and the visual effects. They look outstanding.
Oh yeah, in regards to the action and CGI and visuals, I think it looks. I think it's better. I think it's the only thing that has improved over Homecoming.
Oh, and the CG in Homecoming looked pretty good, but the CG in this is just, oh my god, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. I mean, it's just awesome.
It's awesome.
So yeah. Then after that, we go to New York City, where Midtown School of Science and Technology completes its year, basically. And if Infinity War and Endgame are to be believed, a lot of shit has gone down since this last Spider-Man movie. Which, here's my first thing, and this is just an MCU thing. The blip? Are you fucking kidding me?
The blip.
The blip.
Out of all the names you could have came up with, the blip.
The snapping sounds more ridiculous, but I would have been like, okay, you know what? Yeah, there's some funny people out there who probably would have been like, oh, it was the snapping, No, it's called the fucking blip. I know that's a nitpick, and I know it's super meaningless, but that is so stupid. Okay. And they still call it that. I'm like, it doesn't bother me as much as it, used to, but when this film came out, I'm like, the blip. Are you fucking kidding me? They didn't just call it the snap. The snap would have been fine enough. No, the fucking blip.
Yeah. I cannot tell you how much Carlton makes fun of that.
Oh my god, like, there's one of those things where I'm like, you know what? Yeah, the fucking blip. Are you kidding me? And there's little stupid things like that in this movie that I don't like. It's not as bad as, like, Spider-Man 3, where it just jags you from the movie, but, oh man. I like this movie, I swear. And this is a meaningless nitpick, but the blip, man, what is this? Who thought... Feige, Kevin, baby, I love you, but what is this? Again, it doesn't bother me as much as it used to, but, like, even though I just was yelling about it a minute ago, but the fucking blip, man? What is this?
Yeah, the blip.
The blip. That sounds like the monster in a video game. That, like, erases you from existence when it goes blip. Yeah. And then there's this thing where people are just sitting around and then people just, like, come back to life and they, like, run into people and it's, like, really weird. It's like, it's been fun. And Betty Brant, who's a high schooler in the MCU, is like, oh yeah, some people came back after the thing, and then, like, some, like, band guys show up and it's really weird.
Yeah. Weird.
So, then we meet Peter Parker again, played by Tom Holland, and we meet his aunt, May Parker, who's, they're doing pretty well, considering the circumstances, in that they lost, like, 5 years of their lives. And, I'm kind of surprised that, there's no, like, mention of this. Like, what would it be like to be snapped out of existence? Like, would there be any, like, trauma from that? It's never explored in this movie. That was kind of disappointing. But,
No, that's one of my issues with the movie, that they don't explore the snapping.
Because, Infinity War was pretty traumatizing to Spider-Man fans. So, I thought it would have been, like, would have had, like, a bad dream or something. Nope.
Nope.
None of that. Everyone's just like, oh, we're going back to normal, which is actually one of the things I like about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, on a tangent, is that they actually explore the repercussions of the snap, or the blip. Ugh.
Yes. I'm just going to call it the snap. I don't like that
A
name.
fucking blip. We're calling it the snap. Fuck the blip. So, then we get to another part I don't like about this movie, and just another meaningless gripe, and you know what? I'm just gonna do it. The Peter Tingle? Really?
God, that is my biggest nitpick. I know it's a meaningless one, but I fucking hate that. The Peter Tingle?
What the fuck? That sounds like that awkward thing that the parents come up with when you start, like, getting boners, It's like, oh, look, it's the Peter Tingle. It's like, what the hell? It just makes me uncomfortable. I know they're supposed to be funny, but it's just uncomfortable. And she's like, where's the Peter Tingle? You're just like, oh my god, stop. Just stop.
It sounds weird. It sounds something sexual.
Yes, it does.
Peter Tingle, just call it the Spidey sense.
Just call it the Spider Sense, yeah.
Peter Tingle? Come on. Me and Carlton were ranting about, like, the fucking Peter Tingle and how stupid it was.
We gotta have him, like, record, like, a little rant, and then we'll just, like, play it for the audience.
Oh, that'd be legendary.
But the Peter Tingle, oh god. It's like, I'm praying now. I swear I like this movie, okay? But it's like, it's so weird. This film's weird. It's the best way to describe this.
It is a pretty weird movie.
It's the weirdest Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Spider-Man 3 weird, but it's weird.
Oh, thank God. I was telling Jacob the other day about Spider-Man 3. I'm like, I kind of love the Bully Maguire montage now.
I love it now. I used to cringe at it, but now I just think it's hilarious.
But, do you think the blip and Peter Tingle is worse than the jazz stuff?
No, nothing, and I mean nothing, can top the jazz stuff. Not even the Lizard's plan. But yeah, I would say the blip and Peter Tingle, I say, like, top 10.
I'd put it somewhere in the top dumb Spider-Man things ever in movies, but you know. But aside from that, Peter's having a little gathering, like a press conference or something, and he's got his new Iron Spider suit. And oh baby, it looks so good.
Oh yeah, I love the Iron Spider suit.
And it's awesome because, you know, I'm not a huge fan of the Civil War comic book, but one of my favorite aspects is that Spider-Man gets that kick-ass Iron Spider suit.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me. So, yeah, so a bunch of shit's gone down since the previous Spider-Man movie, which is that everybody got blipped, then the Avengers brought everybody back, and then they blipped Thanos. Fucking hate saying blip. Why am I saying? They snapped Thanos out of existence. Spoiler alerts if you didn't see the movie. And now Spider-Man is kind of trying to deal with his life when he technically should be in his 20s, and he's still 16 or 17 years old. So. And then we meet him and Aunt May, and Aunt May's trying to, like, hype him up and, like, support him. And it's kind of nice, because Aunt May is pretty supportive of Peter in his, being very supportive of Peter in this time in his life.
Yeah, that's the thing I like, their relationship. She's, you would expect her to be, like, very worried and just, like, overprotective, but no, she's very supportive of him being Spider-Man, very supportive. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, Aunt May just is, like, the all-star in this movie. Like, she's a lot of fun in this. Like, Marisa Tomei, I think is her name. She does, like, really good in this. Aside from the Peter Tingle shit, like, pretty good.
Pretty good.
I mean, yeah. I also love her relationship with Happy. It's so freaking hilarious. It's just, oh my god.
I love it.
Like, they just walk up and they're just, like, staring at each other awkwardly, and Peter's just, like, looking at... I love it. I love that scene.
I love it, too. Like, they're kind of flirting, and Peter's just so confused, and he's like, what just happened?
And it's perfect, too, because, you know, when your parents are, like, flirting, you're just like, oh, God, stop. Oh, it's perfect. That's what the MCU movies have nailed, is that is the teenaged experience or growing up experience.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Spider-Man has a press conference. I forget exactly what he says, but do you remember, Jacob?
Oh yeah, they're at that press conference, and then he's like just being classic Peter Parker. Just like he's kind of in stage fright. He's like, "Thank you, Miss Parker, for having me, and thank you all for having me."
Oh yeah, I mean that's probably the most Spider-Man parts of this movie is when he's like just being weird around when he's super awkward. I'm like, classic Peter Parker right there. Like when he's giving the speech, he's like, "Oh God," he's like, "Thank you, Miss Parker, and everyone else." You know, it's like, oh, it's perfect. I love it.
Classic Peter.
And Peter is reunited with all of his friends, like Ned and Betty Brant and MJ, played by Zendaya, and Jacob Batalon, and that blonde chick. I don't know her name. I'm sorry, but after the press conference, Peter is swinging around and he sees a little thing of Iron Man, and if you remember, Iron Man died in Endgame. Spoilers in case you hadn't seen Iron Man already. Or not Iron Man. Fucking Endgame. Why am I'm fucking everything up today. I'm not on my A game right now. But anyways, Peter's having... One of the things Peter is having a hard time with is that Tony Stark is dead, and he's very sad about that.
Mm-hmm.
And, I love the scene with Happy where he's like, man, I miss him, and Happy's like, I miss him too. Or was that in the trailer? I don't remember.
It was in a trailer.
Oh. Still like that scene though, and it is from this movie, so I mean, I guess it counts.
Well, it is in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, that's way later though. Oh,
yeah, way later.
Oh my god, I thought that was earlier. Never mind. So Peter's like swinging around. He's really sad, but he has a 2-week summer field trip to Europe. And now our boy Peter is giving the googly eyes to MJ, played by Zendaya. So yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Well, you gotta get your love interest.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things that kind of surprises me about Spider-Man. I'm always asking Carlton, I'm like, how the hell does this dweeby teenager gets like ladies firing at him? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, MJ, Gwen Stacy, Black Cat.
Like, these are some, like, banging chicks here, okay? Like, nah, I mean, that might get us canceled, but you know what? I don't fucking care. He gets a lot of hot women, like, just going at him. I guess spider powers makes people sexy. I don't know. But it's like with Daredevil. It's like, dude, I need to get superpowers. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I need to give me those Spidey powers.
Oh, man. So he wants to go on this field trip to Europe because he's like, you know what, fuck this superhero shit right now. I want to take a break. Which, it's like, there's people who are like, Spider-Man wouldn't do that. And I'm like, yeah, probably not, but it works. We all need a break sometimes.
And plus, just a reminder, he is still a kid. So.
Yeah, he's still still a human being. Like, you don't get mad at Spider-Man in the Miles Morales Spider-Man game just because he goes with MJ to fucking Europe or wherever the hell they went. I forget exactly now. I'm replaying it right now, and I already forgot already. Anyway. So, excuse me. So, Happy Hogan, who is kind of making the googly eyes at Aunt May, he's like, hey, Peter, Nick Fury, for some reason, wants to call you. I don't know why, but he has, like, something for him. Which is another thing that kind of doesn't make sense about this movie, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But Peter's just like, no. And he just ignores Fury's phone call, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Spidey's the only one who has a pair of you-know-what to say, like, fuck you, Nick Fury.
Yeah. He's just like, you know what? Fuck this.
Then Happy's like, you did not ghost Nick Fury.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, yeah, you don't ghost Nick Fury, and it's fucking hilariously. Which is fucking hilarious. He's just like, I'm just gonna ignore it. So Peter starts like going on a flight with his like boys or with his like friends and whatnot, and Ned is now dating Betty, which is kind of a running joke in this movie, where they're together and then they break up, and then they're together again and then they break up again. It's kind of weird. But it's funny because you're just like, oh god, it's so funny and dweebish. It's perfect.
Oh yeah, it's like really clever like teenage stuff where like they'll hook up and then like, oh, we're taking a break, oh, we're back together again.
Yeah, it's funny. It's just like high school again.
It is. I love it.
Oh man. So, yeah, they're having a little thing. Peter's making a little eye contact with MJ, played by Zendaya. And man, I gotta say about Zendaya, I'm been pleasantly surprised that she's become as successful as she has.
I have been too.
Because I remember her from her Shake It Up days. Like I grew up in that generation. Well, I was like 13 though when that came out. But I digress. This is like usually when it comes to Disney stars, either they get like moderately successful to just crash and burn, or just obscurity. Like there's no in between there. But she's like managed to become successful. It's really weird.
Yeah, she's like the only like Disney star to like have a successful career and not like go downhill like most of Disney stars.
Which
So I'm
she's
proud.
the only one I can think of anyway. I don't know if there's anyone else that's been, well, Demi Lovato, but she's kind of been. Anyways, Zendaya, she must have like, you know, signed with the right people or something. I don't know, but what do you think, Jacob?
About what?
Zendaya.
Uh, Zendaya. First in Homecoming, I was like, okay, she's kind of funny, but I'm not really interested in her character. But in this one, I like her a lot more in this film. She's given a lot more to do. I also love her and Peter's relationship. It's really cute. It's very adorable, I must say, and it's genuine.
Oh yes, her and Tom Holland have a lot of chemistry, and I agree. I think they're because in the Homecoming, she's kind of that like awkward weird girl who just like makes fun of everybody and is just kind of like moody and whatnot. In this movie, she's still kind of like that, but she's like, she again, like Jacob says, she's given more to do. She has like more things she wants to do, and she kind of likes Peter, but she's kind of not one to, you know, get into that whole situation. But she likes Peter, I think. Well, anyway. I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh man, so Peter and the gang go to Venus, Italy, and shit goes sideways fast, as it tends to do in a Spider-Man story, because Peter Parker, dude, just can't have anything nice happen to him. Just
No,
nope.
there's always something coming up.
He's always getting shit on. Anyways, so this water thing, like that other thing that our boy Quentin Beck defeated earlier, um, Beck comes in to try and stop this damn thing, and that doesn't really work. So, Peter, covertly as Spider-Man ends up saving Beck, and they both end up defeating the water monster thing, or whatever the fuck they call it, an elemental here, which,
Yeah.
I guess elementals exist now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what to tell you, man. So, Peter has a time trying to defeat this damn thing. And then after that, they end up going back to their apartments. It's like, and they're all like, "Oh, where were you, Peter?" And he's all like, "Oh, I was just." Yeah, gives the classic Peter Parker kind of like, "Oh, I ran to go get help," She's all like, "Did you see that fishbowl guy?" It's like, I think he's wearing the fishbowl in the scene. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, baby." Fucking Mysterio.
Oh, yeah.
Mysterio, motherfuckers. No, but, as you can tell, I love Mysterio. Apparently No Way Home, if it wasn't going to be the movie that we got, it would have been a Kraven the Hunter film. And as it so happens, I am a huge Kraven the Hunter fan as well. That would have been awesome. But you know what? No Way Home, that was pretty fucking awesome too. So I'm not going to complain.
Oh, no.
By the way, please get Kraven into the MCU. That'd be great. Anyways, let's continue. So Fury ends up. So they end up going to their apartments, and Peter does the whole, "Oh, I went to go get help," and then Peter goes into his apartment, and Ned's like, "Oh, hey man, what's up?" And then he gets shot by Nick Fury, and Nick Fury's like, he's not amused. You wanna take it from here, Jacob?
Yeah. So Nick Fury, as you said, tranquilizes Ned, putting him to sleep. And I must say, seeing Nick Fury and Spider-Man interacting is actually a dream come true for me. Like Samuel L. Jackson, it's freaking Samuel L. Jackson playing Nick Fury, so I was really excited to see them interacting. And so far, Nick Fury tells Peter about this, and he tells him, like, you ghost me, and I do not like that. I'm not happy, but I need your help with these elementals. And there's this, like, this is where, like, the humor for me kind of falls flat. When Nick Fury is trying to explain these elementals and what's happening, someone just keeps, like, knocking on the door saying, like, oh, hey, Peter, you need something? You need something? And I was like, okay, this is getting annoying.
Yeah, and there is a scene later, but it's not really this scene, but it's where it's a problem I have with this movie. It's like, why does he need Spider-Man's help? They try to explain it, but it's like, man, because Nick Fury seems like a dumbass in this movie, because he's trusting Beck, and, you know, I'm not gonna lie, it's not like Beck has given Nick Fury any reason, but Nick Fury, like, this is one of the big points in The Winter Soldier. Nick Fury doesn't trust anybody. I should clarify. He rarely trusts anybody. So he just automatically trusts Beck, though. Really bizarre.
You just trust Mysterio and Spider-Man.
I mean, I can see why you could trust Spider-Man, but this fucking random guy who just, like, in a fishbowl, you're not like, you know, didn't run a background check, nothing. They did nothing. That's one of the big, like, story issues I have with this. It's like, which is explained later in a post-credit scene, but we'll get to that. But I don't get why. It's like Fury's whole thing is that he rarely trusts anybody. He literally says in the Winter Soldier, last time I trusted somebody, I lost an eye. Which was later shown in Captain Marvel, which is not a good movie. But yes, it's like there's so much, like there's like WTF moments in this movie, and that's just one of them.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, Nick Fury, he's known for rarely trusting anybody, but now you suddenly trust this Mysterio person who's apparently from a different universe, and now you just want to trust him. It's like, oh, we need your help with these elementals.
And they kind of explain it. He's like, oh yeah, I'm from the multiverse, but that's later. But yeah, he ends up giving. But one of the good things is that Fury ends up giving Peter Stark's glasses, which is these things he'd wear, and it has and it's meant for his successor, and this is one of the big points that a lot of people like to say this is Iron Boy Jr. So prepare for a rant, people. Okay, we're about to go into rant time with Britton and Jake Go to the Movies. Okay. Fuck the Iron Boy Jr. fucking people, okay? I'm just gonna say that. Just
fuck them.
Yeah, just shut the fuck up, okay? Just stop. Just fucking stop, okay? Just fucking stop. It's like Carlton the other day. Like, dude, he's all like, oh yeah, he relies too much on Stark's technology. That was the fucking point of the movie. Did you watch it? Did you watch did you pay attention to the fucking movie? He literally says, if you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't fucking wear it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fucking bullshit, man. Like, it's so annoying. Like, you want to start a Twitter fight in a couple of seconds. Just talk about the MCU Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's so sad.
It's fucking stupid. It's like, this probably should have been on the Homecoming video, but you know what, I'm just gonna do it now. Fuck these people! Or not fuck these people. That sounds wrong. Here, let me just backtrack for a second. Let me back up. Okay. I understand there's some people who don't like the changes to the MCU Spider-Man. And that's totally fine. Okay? I know I just said fuck these people like 5 minutes ago, but I should backtrack and say it is not a bad thing if you don't like these changes. That's totally fine. But when you're criticizing something when you clearly weren't paying attention to the movie, that's what pisses me off.
Yes. No, when they see, like, Tony's a mentor to Spidey and no Uncle Ben. Oh, Iron Boy Jr.
It's like the Snyder fans for Batman v Superman are like, oh, it's part of Batman's arc. Okay, if the whole thing where he kills Superman, or he almost fucking kills Superman, and he's like, the Martha scene, and then he fucking throws the thing away. Why is he killing fucking people 10 seconds later? It's like,
it makes no fucking sense.
It's the same fucking thing. It's just like, dude, pay attention to the movie.
Yeah, talk about hypocrisy.
It's just pay attention to the movie. But let's get back to this other film. But, I can see where they can come from in this movie. Just, I can see where they're coming from. The whole point of the last movie is that Peter's not just the hero. Peter isn't just the suits and gadgets and whatnot. It's who he is as a person is why he's a hero.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it just kind of goes back to the Stark technology, and that kind of undermines that point. So I'll agree with that. But guys, you gotta pay attention to these movies. It's not, okay, these aren't like the deepest films in the world. Yeah, but they are filled with detail. Like, there is a story going on, and if you want to fully get it, you gotta watch the movie. But hey, it's fine.
You gotta pay attention.
So anyways, Fury's just like, here's Stark's sunglasses that was meant for his successor. So it also gives you command of all of his stuff. Anyway, so the glasses basically let him communicate with and take command of this artificial intelligence called Edith. Forget exactly what it means, but it's, it's Edith. So yeah, basically he has access to Stark Industries and all that stuff now. So, yeah. Okay. It's kind of weird. It's like this, she has like control of this audio reality. It's so weird. Like, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, it's odd.
Anyway. So, they end up meeting later. And we end up meeting, and Peter ends up meeting Quentin Beck. And he actually seems like a pretty cool guy. And I remember one of the things is called it's like Quentin Beck's like that dope uncle. And yeah, that's actually pretty true. At least at first, anyway.
Yeah.
And he's all like, "Yo, man, what's up? I'm from an alternate reality." And I'm like, I remember, and when I was in the theater, I was like, "Woo boy, multiverse, baby!" But then Loki explained that we're not there yet. But yeah, so basically, Beck claims that he's from an alternate reality where elementals just murdered everybody, including his family, and destroyed his civilization. So, yeah, this is pretty good interaction, and it also kind of tries to answer the question, why does Fury need Spider-Man for this? Because I think there'd be better agents to deal with this problem. But, kind of a funny thing is like, where's Thor? He's like, he's in orbit. He's like, where's yada yada? And, whatever. It's alright. But again, I don't know why he needs Spider-Man for this, aside from that. It's never really specified. Like, what do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, it's never really explained on why do you need Spider-Man when you have this interdimensional warrior Mysterio from a different universe. But I digress.
Yes. So yeah, they're like, "Oh, what are we gonna do?" And then Beck's all like, "I think it's gonna attack Prague." And Fury's like, "Okay, we're gonna attack Prague. Okay, fine, we'll go to Prague then." And he's like, "Peter, are you in?" And Peter's like, "Nope." and he goes back to his class trip. And that is one of my problems because, you know, I think Peter would be on, you know, it doesn't really feel like Spider-Man, you know? I mean, yeah, I know he wants a break from his superheroic stuff, but, you know, this is not what I think of Spider-Man. When I think of Spider-Man, you know, Spider-Man's all about great power comes great responsibility, and, you know, I think, you know, regular Spider-Man would be like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, I think he would just be like, just do the right thing and just saying, you know, just saying okay with this instead of just like, I gotta hang out with my friends, but I will do that, but I also gotta hang out with my friends. Yeah, it doesn't really feel like Spider-Man.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. So Fury, being Fury, decides he's going to change the classes, you know, where they're going to go, and they're going to go to Prague. And Peter's like, are you kidding me? So, then we get a montage of them on a bus, and they're just kind of screwing around. Is this later when he meets the lady?
Oh, yeah, it's later.
Oh, okay. So, hold on here. Sorry for the silence. So, Fury decides to change the classes thing to divert everybody to Prague, which, of course, upsets Peter because he knows that Fury did it, but can't really say it because, you know, he wants to still keep his identity on the down low.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so they go to Prague, and he's trying to get with, like, MJ, but then the fire elemental attacks, and it kind of gets all upset and whatnot. Again, the action scenes in this look amazing, I gotta say. What do you think, Jacob?
Oh, yeah. The action in this movie, I really love. They feel more intense. I can tell that Jon Watts was a lot more confident this time because obviously before Homecoming he had never done something that size. So I think he did a really good job with the action sequences here.
Oh yeah. I mean it's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty dope, I gotta say.
It is.
And yeah, him and Beck decided to fight the thing, and it goes well, and then he defeats it, and Beck manages to destroy it, and Peter helps him out, and it all goes well. Everything goes swimmingly, a little too swimmingly. Wink, wink. And we get to see Mysterio in the fishbowl. Yeah, boy. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. Hashtag fishbowl for life. But then he takes it off again, which makes me sad. He's like, yeah, boy, we did it. And, you know, Fury and Hill are like, hey, guys, we should go to Berlin and discuss the formation of a new superhero team. And Peter and Beck are like, cool. And then they, like, stay back. And, you know, I actually really like the stuff between Peter and Beck at first. You know, before him and Beck become enemies. I really like when they're, you know... excuse me. I like when they both are becoming, I like when they're both kind of bonding a little bit. And Beck's like, man, you know, it shouldn't be held back, man. You should try and do what you can. And he's like, yeah. Or he encourages him to, you know, do what he likes doing. It's actually kind of nice.
It is. Initially, so far I really like the relationship between them. Especially when Mysterio gives him advice saying, like, you're not a jerk for wanting a normal life and all that. Really liked it.
Oh, yes. He's like, yeah, I remember my wife, and he gets a little sappy, but, you know, aside from that, it's pretty dope. I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like, again, they kind of describe Quentin Beck's that cool uncle, and I'm like, yeah, that's about right. He seems like that kind of weird uncle that gives good advice from time to time.
Yeah.
And, so, Peter ends up going into this bar with, Beck, and apparently he had this issue with, his kind of arc of the movies, he feels kind of insecure about his place, and he doesn't feel like he's fit to lead after Tony is, after Tony.
Mm-hmm.
So he decides to give. So him and Beck are talking. He's like, I think you should have it. And he ends up giving Edith to him. And which turns out to be a terrible idea. Because you know how I was saying earlier, I was waiting for the glass to drop and he turns out to be the villain? Well, this is the scene. And they pull it off without a hitch. I really like this scene.
Me too, I love the reveal.
Where Beck's like, yeah, baby, we tricked him. Yeah, boy. Yeah. And he's really excited about it. And all these people are just, like, celebrating. And it's, like, really, it's so good. And he's, like, thanking everybody. And it's super extravagant. And I'm like, oh, yes. They did it perfectly.
I love it. Like, that's classic Mysterio right there.
Oh my god. It's just like, and then it turns out, like, it's not even, I think it's an illusion. The whole thing's an illusion. I'm like, that's Mysterio right there. Like, he's the master of deception. You know, Mysterio.
Yeah, Mysterio.
He's an illusionist, man. Like, that's his thing. And it's really awesome.
Yeah.
And he nails it in this scene. And in some of the later scenes, too.
Oh, yeah, but this scene is, like, amazing.
Oh my god, it's awesome. I love it. And he's like thanking everybody. And probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie is that we see this guy. And he's from the first Iron Man movie. It's the guy who Jeff Bridges was chewing out in one of my, like, favorite scenes of that whole movie. Where he's chewing him out over the fact that Tony Stark made the suit out of a bunch of scraps. Like, that's amazing. And that's the magic of the MCU right there.
Magic.
It's just like, they'll bring back these random people who we saw, and they'll just come back. But as great as this scene is, this also brings an issue with, the main issue I have with this movie is how they portray the conflict between, Spider-Man and Mysterio.
Yeah.
Beck is obviously the bad guy of this movie, but they make it seem like Tony screwed him over. And that's really weird, because it's like, okay, first movie, it makes more sense, I feel like. Because, it's not like Tony actively, like, screwed him over or anything. It was just bad circumstances that Tony just happened to be a part of, and, Vulture got mad and blamed Tony for it. Like, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
In this movie, it's kind of like, they make it look like Tony screwed him over, and also there's also the fact he's fucking nuts, and he's nuts, basically, and you're like, but they kind of make it feel like Tony screwed him over, and it's like, what is this? Like, this is, like, either this is bad writing, or it's just, like, weird direction. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if he's, like, trying to make us see it from his perspective, but it just makes Tony look bad. It just kind of undermines his whole arc of the movies he was in.
Yeah, it does. Like, like you said, in Homecoming, you, like, understood, like, why the Vulture was upset, because it really genuinely fucked his, like, career up, because damage control and Tony was involved. It made sense. But in this one, Mysterio's mad just because he called your technology barf. Like, really? That's why you're upset at Tony? That's why you think he screwed your life up or something? Yeah,
he's also upset because he feels like Tony, like, took credit for his stuff. It makes Tony look bad. And, I mean, it's also kind of mentioned he got fired because he thought I was too crazy or something like that. But I just don't like how that's pulled off. It just doesn't.
No.
It doesn't feel right. Again, I feel like it undermines Tony's arc throughout the movies, from, like, rich jerk guy to, like, kind of still jerk guy, but he's, like, better. And he's a good guy. Not that he wasn't a bad guy.
Makes sense.
Like,
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it just seems like Tony's. Once again, it's Peter cleaning up one of Tony's messes.
Yeah, which is like.
It worked in the first movie because of the circumstance, but in this, I don't think it works as well. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh yeah, I agree. In the first one, like he was like Mad Tony, but still, it was like he was like it was still Spider-Man. It became Spider-Man's villain. But in this one, it is like, this is where the Iron Boy Jr. argument does come in. I'll kind of agree with them, even though I still despise them. But yeah, Spidey cleaning up Tony's mess because of a villain and all that. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Yeah, but aside from that, this scene is awesome. I love how he just gets up and he's just really excited, and I love Jake Gyllenhaal's performance in this movie. When he turns on the bad guy stuff, oh, you can just tell he's having a great time.
Oh yeah, you can tell he's just like having a blast, just chewing the scenery.
Oh my god. And that's one of the thing about these MCU movies. The villains are all pretty good for the most part. Except in this one where I feel it makes sense because, Beck's ego, but again, I just think it undermines Tony's arc because, I thought Tony was supposed to not be doing stuff like that anymore. Not that I think he was screwing over people before. I mean, we don't really know all that much. We just know he was a selfish jerk before, and then he became, a better person, right? And then then he's like, oh, he screwed me over and called my shit barf. It's like it just feels weird. I don't like it. I'll just put it that way. I don't like it. But aside from that, I love the scene where they're all celebrating and he's thanking everybody.
Oh yeah, where Mysterio is like, this is an exposition scene, but I don't care because like the fact that Jake Gyllenhaal is like delivering it, it just makes it so special and so amazing. He's just like basically telling the audience like, oh yeah, these drones shoot out these fire and water elements to make it feel realistic, but we also have these holograms and all that. It is, as I said, it's exposition heavy, but I don't care because it's an amazing scene. Jake Gyllenhaal, like I said, Jake Gyllenhaal delivering it just makes it so amazing.
Oh yeah, and this is how you do an exposition scene, ladies and gentlemen. Make it interesting. Make it give it something that people will latch onto, like Jake Gyllenhaal's great performance in this scene, and you can just see it. He's very manic and. Everyone's excited and he's given it, but it doesn't feel like an exposition dump. It's kind of like Jonathan Majors' He Who Remains performance in Loki. It's not just exposition. It's fun to watch because he's like moving around and he's moving his body and he's doing stuff. He's not like just sitting there being like here's my life story and he just like spills it to you. That definitely would have been bad.
Oh God, yeah. This is exposition done right. It's not like unlike the Amazing Spider-Man, where Peter just simply pressed a button on a laptop and hears the lizard's entire plan. I'm still mad at that scene, but yeah.
I thought you were gonna say the scene in Spider-Man 3 where the butler tells Harry the whole thing.
Oh God,
that's the one I hate more.
That scene's so dumb. I just want to forget about it.
But no, basically, this is how you do a good exposition scene, where he just, even in the other movie when he says, I'm doing this for her, that's good exposition, because it's Michael Keaton is giving a good performance, and Jake Gyllenhaal is doing a good performance, too.
Mm-hmm.
And he's all like, yeah, and Tony Starr gave it to this kid? Oh, man! And that's kind of his thing. He kind of underestimates Peter a lot in this movie.
Yeah, he calls him a hormonal teenager, and he also calls Tony a boozy man-child.
Yeah.
Which
is pretty ironic because he's kind of doing the same thing, but
Yeah.
Villains. He's a villain. He's not supposed to make sense. Always.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Aside from that kind of thing where you're like. Okay, it kind of undermines Tony's arc, but aside from that, this scene's awesome. It's like, there's Mysterio. Like, oh.
Oh, yeah. Classic Mysterio right there.
Oh, yeah. Though, I mean, I could nitpick that he's not as much of a loser as he is in the original comics, but, that whole he loves the attention of being Mysterio, that's totally Mysterio.
Oh, absolutely.
He nails that part, the attention-seeking part of Mysterio. He nails that beautifully. So, yeah, basically he explains his plan to us without it sounding insulting, and it's quite nice. So, good job, Chris McKenna and Eric Sommers for doing that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, kudos to you, Jake Gyllenhaal, because your performance as well and your delivery, excellent.
Oh my god, he's so good in this movie. Like, he's probably the best part of this movie. Besides my disappointment he doesn't wear the fishbowl all that much, very excited. Or not very excited. I was very pleased with Jake Gyllenhaal's performance. Also, he's just a great actor. I mean, Nightcrawler is a masterpiece.
Oh, yeah. That's a movie we need to talk about.
I know! We need to talk about that movie someday. It's so good.
Love it.
So, yeah, basically he wants to use Edith's orbital weaponized drones to increase the scale of his illusions and establish himself as an Avenger-level hero. So basically he wants to be an Avenger. And again, it just captures beautifully who Mysterio is. He just loves adulation and, attention for himself.
Oh, yeah, that's classic Mysterio.
Indeed. One of my biggest disappointments is that Bruce Campbell never got to play Mysterio. Because I just think about it, and I love Bruce Campbell, from the Evil Dead movies. I'm just like, God, he would have been amazing.
Man, that would have been legendary.
Oh my God! Like I'll save that for No Way Home. But it's like, oh man, like that would have been awesome. I would have loved that.
Me too, man. I would have loved that.
But Jake Gyllenhaal does a great job too. Like he's phenomenal. He is very good. I'll just put it that way. He just gets the guy who just wants to get attention for himself.
100%.
Like his ego is so massive,
It is, which is part of Mysterio.
Which is
he's
just
an egomaniac.
It's like charming though. It's not like where you want to smack him like some other characters. Killmonger. Anyway. So Peter's kind of screwing around. He's feeling good about himself. He's like, yeah, I trust that Beck guy. And he sees MJ crawling about, and he ends up walking in, or something happens, and then she ends up figuring out that he tells, or I think he like goes in kind of like it's not as memorable as Homecoming, but he goes in and she sees him and he's like, oh, or no, she like sees him and he's like, oh, she's like, where are you at? And I'm like, oh, and then he's all like, I'm Spider-Man, and she's all like, oh, I knew. He's like, wait, what? And then Ned I love this scene too, where Ned just walks in, and he's like, oh, hey, oh! It's perfect. I love it. I love Ned so much in these movies, man.
Me too, man. I love this. One of my favorite MCU side characters. I love him.
Jacob Batalon, like he's just, he's so freaking awesome as Ned. He's so funny, and
he really is.
Him and Peter's friendship again is one of the stronger parts of this movie. I love their friendship.
Oh yeah, once again, it's so genuine and wholesome, and you can tell that they're friends.
Oh man, it's fun, man. I love it.
I love
it. And then MJ's
Jacob.
all like, I know you're, and she's all like, oh, I knew you were Spider-Man. And he's like, what? How? And she's like, oh, I've been sneaking around, He's like, don't do that. You could have gotten, yourself killed. And then she's all like, bro, I saw something. Or I think it goes down this way.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up discovering debris. And then Peter ends up figuring out he's been bamboozled. I just wanted to say that. I love saying that word. Bamboozled. He's been bamboozled by the master bamboozler, Quentin Beck.
Bamboozler.
I'm sorry. I like that word, Jacob. Okay, don't judge me. But yeah, he's been tricked by Mysterio, and he's like, oh. So he decides to try and travel to Berlin to go warn Fury. But then this is where the real Mysterio bamboozle stuff starts happening. Because, well, you see, Mysterio's real superpower is illusions. He's basically like a magician. He's a special effects guy, so he's basically like a magician. And I love these scenes when he's like messing with Peter in the like visions and stuff. I love that.
Oh yeah, they are my favorite parts of the movie. They are mesmerizing and incredible CGI work.
Oh my god, yeah, it's so good. And then it's just like it's perfect Mysterio. Like that's what Mysterio does. He just messes with your mind by showing you illusions.
Yeah, it was like a dream come true. I'm a Spider-Man fan. I was like, yes, Mysterio, the illusions. This is Mysterio.
Yes, I'm like, yes, exactly. This is Mysterio. Like this is who I've been waiting. This is why I watch. This is why I love Mysterio because he's just. It's not someone who Spider-Man can simply punch. It's like someone who challenges Spider-Man on like a psychological level.
Yeah, he's basically the Riddler of Spider-Man villains.
Yeah, except he's not like, oh, riddle me this, Batman. You know that kind of thing.
Yeah, he's more magical.
Magic. I bet Penn Jillette would be there. He's like, this is bullshit. It's an illusion. It's not real. if only Peter had like Penn Jillette with him, that would have been very useful. Penn and Spider-Man. I'd pay to see that movie. Anyways, so he goes to Berlin, and it turns out it's Beck tricking him with an illusory Fury into revealing the names of the people who know who Beck is and what his plan is. And this is really trippy. Like it's a really trippy scene. It's kind of scary too. I really like. Again, it's perfect. That's who Mysterio is, man. He just messes with your mind.
Yeah, he's a master illusionist, and he just likes to mind fuck you.
Yeah, he's a master manipulator. And he's a master illusionist. Like that's his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so Fury is actually just Beck. And then Peter gets hit by a train. You're like, oh no!
Holy shit!
You're like, whoa! He's all like, yo, Peter, I'm sorry. Like, now, I don't think... Now, Mysterio isn't quite as malicious in the comics as he is in this movie. He's more of just like a loser guy. He just wants attention for himself. And the movie kind of does that, too. Except he's far more malicious in this movie. He's, like, mocking him the whole time, and he's, like, telling him how he's gonna kill everybody. It's like, oh, yeah, pure supervillain stuff.
Oh, yeah, calling him gullible. He's like, I'm gonna kill all your friends now.
He's like, yeah, you're a dumbass. I'm gonna kill all your friends. Yeah. You know? And he gets hit by a train. And he's like, okay, he's dead. Let's keep going. Let's move on with this whole thing. Because, no one survives getting hit by a train, usually.
But, hey, if you're Spider-Man.
But, hey, if you're Spider-Man, you're probably not gonna die. You're probably just gonna get really hurt. So...
Yeah, just have a little scratch.
So, yeah, after that, Peter is, of course, not happy. He's actually crying, which is kind of a thing in this movie. Tom Holland, he's good at crying. What, Jacob?
Indeed.
Oh, you said indeed. I was about to say, that's why I'd never be an actor. It's not like I'm a sociopath or anything, but it's really hard to get me to cry. I don't know about you.
No, it takes a lot of skill to just, like, cry on cue.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know how people would do... That's a superpower right there. That's a real superpower. I don't know how people would do that. But, all that good stuff. So, yeah. Beck basically... And it's perfect, too, because it makes Beck just... You want to see him get his comeuppance. You're like, yeah, boy. Yeah. They're like, oh, fuck this guy. Come on, Peter. Get his ass. Which again, he does. We'll get to that later. But, yeah, so... You alright, Jacob?
Yeah, I'm good.
Alright. So, Peter is messed up from getting hit by the train, and he calls Happy, who shows up and is like, yo, man, what's wrong? And then that's where we get the scene where he's like, man, I miss Tony. And then Happy's like, I miss him too.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly, but I think they have like a conversation about like being a hero and all that. Do you remember, Jacob?
Yeah, Happy's Peter is crying, is breaking down in tears, saying like, the world's asked who's going to be next Iron Man, and I don't know if I'm that. I'm not Iron Man. Then Happy tells him, you're not Iron Man. You're never going to be. Nobody can live up Tony. Not even Tony. Tony was a mess. He was always second guessing everything. But the one thing that he didn't second guess was picking you. Basically saying like, don't try to be the next Iron Man. Be the next you, which is beautiful.
Yeah, and again, for the Iron Boy Jr. people, like, that's the whole point of these movies, is that it's not just him trying to be Iron Man, it's about being his own hero. But I digress. I love the relationship between Happy and Peter. You know, Jon Favreau and Tom Holland have a lot of chemistry together. I really like how they...
I was about to say, like, am I the only one who loves their relationship? Because I love it.
Oh, yeah, even in No Way Home, it's great, too. But, again, we'll wait for next week to do that, to talk about that. But, yeah, it's great. I really enjoy that.
Oh, me too. Like, their relationship, Happy is basically, like, this, like, big, lovable uncle to Peter, and I love it. I love their relationship.
Oh, yeah, he's like part father figure and part, like, cool uncle who, like, has all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
It gives you all the awesome Christmas presents.
Yeah, and Jon Favreau and Tom Holland do have a lot of chemistry.
I mean, Jon Favreau's a pretty good director. I mean, Iron Man's great. Mandalorian, also really good. And the Jungle Book movie that he did a few years ago, very good as well. He's a good actor, too. I mean, in the Iron Man movies and in this one, he's really good.
Yeah.
And this is a very touching scene. I really like this scene.
Me too.
Again, Iron Boy Jr. people, this is, you know, the whole points of these movies is that Peter is trying to be like Tony, except he comes to the realization he won't be like Tony, but he can be something better. He can be something more. He can be himself. I think that's beautiful, you know.
Yeah. Love it.
So anyways, Peter is encouraged. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to fuck this dude up. So... He's like, I'm gonna fuck this guy. I'm gonna fuck Beck's life up. So he goes to London. I think they play AC/DC as well, if I recall. But I might be thinking of another movie.
Oh yeah, when Peter is making his suit, AC/DC is playing a callback to the first Iron Man, and then Peter being a young teenager saying like, "Oh, I love Led Zeppelin," even though it's AC/DC.
Yeah. And I love Happy. He's just like, all right, I'll explain it to him later. And it's just awesome. It's just like the best, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fuck this dude's life up. Now, is it as good as Peter just whooping the Green Goblin's ass in the first Raimi movie? No. But it is pretty cool. Especially when we get to this last scene. So Beck's having a little thing go down. Then Fury's all like, yo, where's Beck at? And then all the things start happening. So, Beck uses the Edith thing that Peter gave him, which earlier, I forgot to mention this, he was trying to, like, get some info on some student who was trying to expose him, because he had this thing where this chick was, like, touching up on him, and it was like a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. I don't like this scene, or I don't like that scene all that much.
Me either. I don't really like it.
I mean, yeah, you know, classic Peter Parker where he's like, no, stop. You know, he's like really awkward. But aside from that, I don't like it. It's really dumb.
Yeah, it is dumb.
That's the thing about the MCU. The humor is a weird thing. Sometimes when it lands, it really lands, and when it doesn't, it just kind of dies.
Yeah, like movies like Thor Ragnarok, like they land, but in films like Far From Home, some of them not very much.
So Peter, so Beck ends up using the Edith thing to orchestrate the whole elementals to try and kill Peter's friends. And Peter's like, oh, fuck no. So he goes down there and is able to disrupt the entire illusion. And it's really awesome because you get to see Peter starting to outsmart Beck. And, Beck is just all over. He's like, he's yelling at everybody. He's just going into full villain breakdown mode.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Yeah, he's like, you're going to turn the freaking thing on now! And he's like, okay, sorry.
man, you can tell Jake Gyllenhaal was having a blast with this.
Oh my god, yes. You can tell he's just having a great time. He's like, it wasn't just for the money, you know. He's all like, I'm gonna have some fun with this. I love Jake Gyllenhaal in this movie. Even though he doesn't win again, he's not winning the fishbowl, which is really annoying. You're just like, man, I want more fishbowl. But you know, pickers can't be choosers, you know.
Also, this is just my big nitpick. Spidey should have called him Fishbowl Head at least once.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's like his famous nickname for him in the comics, and then he's all like, "No," you know. I really like Spectacular Spider-Man. If you couldn't tell. You know, funny thing about Spectacular Spider-Man, I used to hate that theme song.
What?
Yeah, I know. I was weird. I thought it was kind of annoying back in the day. Now I really like it. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
Not only is it catchy, but it's iconic.
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, I don't know why. I guess I was just, I don't know. I told Cameron, he had the same reaction. He's like, "What? That sounds cool." I'm like, I don't know, man. That '90s Spider-Man theme though. Also, I would recommend the '90s Spider-Man show. It is really hilarious nowadays. It's a lot of fun too.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, back to this movie. So we're having a little thing. A little sus. And Fury's all like, what's going on? And they're having like a I love how Nick is just freaking oblivious the entire time. You're just like... It's just like, okay, this is not Nick Fury, but okay, I'll go with it. It's kind of like...
Yeah, but like, okay, they're kind of dumbing him down, making him oblivious.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but Nick Fury isn't oblivious, but I digress. So, Peter is able to disrupt all the illusions, at least so far. But Beck is like, oh, okay, fine. This little kid is freaking annoying me, so I'm just gonna throw shit at him. So you know what he does? He throws all the drones he's got at him. And they're just like, he's like taking them out and like, you know, fighting them, and it's very awesome. But I like this final. This is a really great final battle. I'll say that. There's problems that I have with this movie.
Oh yeah.
This is a great final battle because it's not just like a physical battle; it's a psychological one. Because remember, Mysterio, he's the master of illusions, and he is the master manipulator. So he will use illusions as well. And Peter has to use his brain in order to beat him as much as he needs to use his fists. And it's really nice. Yeah. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. This film incorporated that beautifully. As you said, it is a psychological battle. And we really get to see Peter using his head and trying to, and strategizing, trying to figure out ways to, destroy all these drones and try to disable all of them. I love it. And it's intense, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, aside from the whole, all right, Peter Tingle, keep going, that's kind of annoying. But aside from that, this is really good. I really enjoy it.
Me too.
Peter Tingle. I'll probably rant more about that later. But anyways, so Beck is they're having a little battle. And again, the effects are amazing in this movie. Can I just say that again? The effects are awesome in this.
You can say it a billion times. It's phenomenal.
It's like, Carlton's all I was a little underwhelmed. I can kind of see why, but dude, the effects in this are great.
Yeah. You gotta admit, the effects are great.
Oh, man. They're really good in this one. And, they kind of have to be, because, we're talking about Mysterio here, so we gotta give him effects that are worthy of his name,
Yeah.
So, yeah. Beck finally, he ends up getting the spider sense, which this is actually a nice detail. A lot of people complained of the lack of spider sense. I like how in this movie he doesn't have full control over it yet.
Yeah, and
I forgot to mention that.
It also shows that Peter is still discovering more about himself and his abilities.
Mm-hmm. I mean, aside from the fact he calls it the Peter tingle, I do like that he's still figuring out the spider sense, because it doesn't always work in this movie, and it's not like a Tobey Maguire thing where he's having like a impotence type of thing, impotent sort of thing. It's just kind of he's still figuring it out. He's still newer as Spider-Man.
Yeah, because he is a new Spider-Man. He hasn't been Spider-Man for that long.
Exactly. Aside from the fact he got snapped for 5 years. Yes. But, so Peter ends up he's like, I'm gonna take your glasses off your face, and he just takes the glasses back, and it's like really inspirational, and it's awesome, and he defeats Beck, and there's also this great scene where he's like looking at a defeated Beck, but then it's another thing, and he ends up grabbing the gun. It's so good. It's like, yes.
And then he says, and he tells Beck, "You can't trick me anymore." It's so beautiful.
Oh my god, it's so good. He's just like, huh. He's like, gotcha, and he's like, oh man, it's so it's so good. It's so good. Like, oh man, I love this. I love it, man.
Me too.
I love it. That's Spider-Man right there.
Yeah, that's Spider-Man.
It's like, yes, Spider-Man is just, I love, this is why I love Spider-Man right here. Because he'll just wreck your, he's like, yeah, he'll joke and whatnot, but when you piss him off, he will fuck your life up.
Yeah.
Like, he'll just beat you and crush you.
You don't want to pick on Spider-Man on the wrong day.
Now, I'll admit I probably would have given him a whipping, but that's just me. I'm a bit more violent than Peter Parker. But one of the things I'm kind of suspect on is that Beck gets shot, and you're like, oh dear. And he's like, oh, you're a good kid. Here's the glasses, and then he takes the thing. It's really awesome, and he gets up hit by the shot. I do not think he dies here. That's just my headcanon. Mysterio, the master of illusions, gets shot by a bullet and just dies. No.
No way.
No way. No. He's still alive. Now, of course, they didn't use him in this the last movie we just saw, because that'd be kind of weird. But no, I don't think he died. And there's people who are like, oh, it'd be kind of fitting though, because his ego, he thought he could just trick Spider-Man, and yeah, maybe, but it would just feel wrong if they just killed him off like that, because the Master of Illusions dying of a bullet shot. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, no way.
I hope they bring him back, because I really like Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, and also I'm sick of them killing off villains.
I know.
Stop that!
Killing him off.
It's like it's probably why I love Homecoming so much. They didn't kill the villain. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, but at the same time,
finally.
Yeah, about time. But at the same time, some of the MCU villains that really were abysmal, like the Yellow Jacket or
oh my god! Don't even get me started on that. I'm saving that for the Ant-Man review. What I rant about that?
Yeah, where it's okay, we don't get rid of him. In Homecoming, yeah, thank God you didn't kill him off.
Oh man, but Beck, he's just like, oh man. It's like, yeah, take that. But he tells one of his guys to get the data from the drones and to just saw it off before he dies, which I call bullshit on that. I don't think he died, because Master Illusions don't die. He didn't die. He's still alive. I'm crossing my arms like a kid. I'm just like, he's not dead. He's alive. He's gonna come back in the next movie.
He's not
dead. You wait. He's coming back in the next movie. No, I'm kidding. But I hope he comes back in the next movie because I do not buy that he died. I am being serious when I say I don't think he died. I don't know about you, Jacob.
No, I don't think he died. But if somehow he actually did die, they just pulled a Bane, just like where Batman just simply got a lucky shot in Dark Knight Rises, which is so annoying. But you know, we're not talking about Dark Knight Rises. But in this one, Far From Home, I don't think he's dead.
Yeah, I mean, if they do kill him, that would be so underwhelming, because it's just like, dude, this is one of the greatest Spider-Man villains ever, and this is one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, so I'm probably being biased. But I think most people would agree that Mysterio is one of Spider-Man's greatest villains.
Oh,
but
yes.
Just to kill him off in such like a just like in such a, like, I don't know, what would you call it?
It's such in the most simple way possible.
Yeah, exactly.
In the most underwhelming way.
The most, like, underwhelming way where he's just, like, gives dramatic speech and dies. Like, it's lame. It would be lame. I hope they didn't kill him off.
Yeah, where he's like, oh, here are the glasses. Oh, you shot me. I got shot with a bullet. I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly. That would be kind of lame. But, yeah, but the final fight is awesome. Peter defeats Beck and gets those glasses from him. He's like, ha, thought you could trick me. Take that, bitch. So, yeah, Mysterio's dead, even though I don't think he's dead. He's still alive. You're not convincing me otherwise. Hashtag Mysterio lives. We're gonna spread that around. So yeah, Peter ends up going back to MJ and is like, hey, and they have like this cute, awkward teenage moment, and they end up like kissing and starting a relationship, and it's like really nice.
Oh yeah, very sweet.
Yeah. So Peter ends up taking her on a date as Spider-Man, and I just love this. It's freaking hilarious. She's just like holding on to him, and she's like, yeah. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to. It's really fun. I really like that. Me
too. It's hilarious.
And it actually ends on a pretty good note. Him and MJ are just hanging out together, and it seems everything's fine. Till it's not, because we're gonna get to my favorite scene of this whole movie. Oh man.
Oh boy.
Oh man, this is the moment I've been waiting for when talking about this movie. My favorite. This is probably one of the best post-credit scenes ever. I love this. Is it as good as the Iron Man one? No, but it's still pretty awesome, and I love it. So, Peter and them are hanging out. So Peter and MJ are hanging out, and then we get a new show called dailybugle.net, which is kind of like, which I think is a really very inspired choice to make it like this Alex Jones type of show. But our boy, our Lord and Savior, J. Jonah Jameson, yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, JK Simmons, comes back to his most iconic role as J. Jonah Jameson. And he looks different this time. He doesn't have the, burnt to a crisp hair. He looks like a, cigar. But he, it's just, and he's all like, so I got this footage of Peter Parker. And he gets fed it footage. And once again, Beck pulls out his last hand, or his last hand, that he ends up framing Spider-Man for the drone attack and his death, and ends up exposing his secret identity to the world. And, it's beautiful.
Oh, I love it.
Oh my god. Oh man, it's like when I saw J.K. Simmons back, I was like, yes, this movie. It's not. Yes, I was about to get up and just start clapping. Yes, but I was gonna cry. Oh, excuse me. I hate being sick, but oh man, but J. Jonah Jameson is back. I love it. What do you think about this, Jacob?
Oh fuck yeah! J.K. Simmons back as J. Jonah Jameson. I'm telling you, when I first saw it in theaters, when he came on the screen, I clapped.
Oh man!
I was like, giggling like a little child.
Oh, man. As if anyone else could ever play J. Jonah Jameson like he could. Like, I bet Jon Watts was like, man, who else? Like, JK Simmons, like, come here. You're gonna be J. Jonah Jameson again. And it's just like, you know what? I don't blame you, Jon Watts, because no one else can play this character but JK Simmons, man.
No, it's like Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. J.K. Simmons is J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh man, yes. It's so. Oh my god, it's so like it just made me warm inside when I saw him again as J. Jonah Jameson. I'm like, yes. Oh, and then it made me excited. Like, oh, multiverse. Oh, I can't wait for this. Oh.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I loved it.
Oh,
J.K.
man.
Simmons is back and in the MCU.
Oh yes.
Hell yeah.
Oh, it's just like we don't deserve this. Thank you, MCU.
Thank you.
Like, Marvel fans have been very fortunate because most of the MCU movies are pretty good.
Yeah.
And again, you can just tell it's made by people who love the Marvel Universe. I may have issues with this movie, but you know, that's just the magic of the MCU right there.
Yeah, they're not perfect.
But you can tell that they're made by people who clearly love this universe and want to do it right, or as right as they possibly can.
Yeah, they want to respect the fans and honor the fans, and they haven't made a bad movie yet, except for Dark World.
And Captain Marvel.
Most of their stuff is great.
I was about to say, and Captain Marvel.
Fuck that
I
movie.
gotta get Carlton on if we ever talk about that movie. That would be.
We were actually, he was actually talking about, like, if I were to be a guest on here, I would love to rant about Captain Marvel with you guys.
We need to get him on, man. We need to get him on Captain Marvel. Because that'd be great. You just steal the show. We're like, all right.
We'll just let him take the ground stage.
Oh man, this mid-credit scene just made my day. Like, I'm like, oh, this movie was worth it. I mean, now don't get me wrong, I like this movie. I'm not saying like this was a terrible movie and this film and that scene just saved the whole thing. But this scene makes the movie so much better. Like, it's
I agree. Not only does it leave us on a cliffhanger and just like in like the most shocking moment ever, but also shows us Spider-Man, Peter Parker's character, suffering a consequence. Now his identity has been revealed and he has been framed for the attack in London. It's beautiful.
Oh man, it's not just awesome because J.K. Simmons is back, though that is awesome. Like, we're not... Like, you can watch our previous... You can watch our Raimi movie discussions. Like, we love J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. But...
Who doesn't?
Him being exposed to the world as Spider-Man. Because, you know, you gotta admit it, this Peter Parker's been a little careless with his secret identity.
Yeah.
But it's not, like, super irritating like with you know, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. I like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. He deserved better. But anyways.
Mm-hmm.
God, I love this scene.
Man, one of the best post-credit scenes ever.
Oh, man, it's so good. It's so good. I love this scene. And it's just like, he's back. And I love how J. Jonah Jameson is kind of like this crazy Alex Jones type in this universe. Like, that's just perfect.
It is perfect. I
like,
love it.
It's not something I would have considered, but when I saw it, I'm like, oh man, that's brilliant. Like, you know,
oh yeah,
you know, Chris McKenna and Eric Sommers, they didn't get everything right in this, but man, like, it's good.
Yeah, they got this right.
Like, yeah, they nailed it. And you know, it's kind of funny because I think back to. I'm actually reading a run of Daredevil right now, the Bendis run actually, where Daredevil's identity is outed to the public, and all of the craziness that comes out with that. And I do wonder if this was inspired by that run, but you know, they're different characters, so.
I wouldn't be surprised if they took inspiration from that.
Anyway, so And then we get another post-credit scene, which isn't as good, in my opinion. But it turns out that the reason that Fury and Maria Hill were not acting like themselves is because, well, in short words, they weren't. It turns out they were the Skrulls from the Captain Marvel movie. Marvel, why did you make me think back to that film? Talos and Soren were actually Nick Fury and Maria Hill. That's why they were acting so odd. Or at least that's my interpretation. Because if that isn't it, then they wrote Nick Fury not good in this movie. So, But that's probably them trying to be like, see, it wasn't actually Nick Fury. So, but it turns out they were under orders from the real Nick Fury because he's away doing something, which is leading up to Secret Invasion, which is, yes, awesome.
Yes.
The MCU, man, that's the thing they do. They just love, they find ways to keep people being excited about, they always keep you excited. Especially this year. Yeah. 2021 has been great for the MCU.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Shang-Chi, all their Disney Plus shows, and recently No Way Home. Like, the MCU has been great this year.
But yeah, so I think the first post-credit scene was better, though.
Oh, yeah. The second one, I didn't know how to feel about it. I was like, oh, it's kind of funny, but I don't know if it was necessary. But yeah, the first post-credit, man, mwah.
Oh my god, like, if they just ended it with that, I would have been like, yes! This film is awesome. I'm gonna go rant about it to all my friends. Like Jacob. But yeah, that was Spider-Man Far From Home. Not a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination. But a very, very good one, nonetheless.
Oh, yeah. Still a really good movie. A lot of fun. The best Spider-Man movie? No. But is it the worst? No. For me, it's a solid B.
Yes, but so yeah, sorry, I'm a little sidetracked. But yes, Spider-Man: Far From Home. It may be my least favorite MCU Spider-Man movie right now, but it is still a good movie. It has all of the good parts and bad parts of the MCU. It is an MCU movie, basically.
Yeah, it is an MCU movie. I mean, definitely.
It's probably the best way I can describe it, rather than it's good. Excuse me. But yes. But yeah, I really like this movie. The acting is really good for the most part. The story's pretty good. I mean, I have issues with it, but aside from that, pretty good. I mean,
yeah.
It's good. It's a Spider-Man movie. It doesn't really, but again, it doesn't really feel like a Spider-Man movie at times. But it is still a very good movie, nonetheless.
Yeah, agreed. It doesn't really feel like a Spider-Man movie, but it's still a solid movie, nonetheless. Some decent humor, though. Most of the jokes I don't felt land. Peter Tingle or the Blip. Oh God.
Oh man.
The action sequences were amazing. The visuals were amazing. And I also really liked Mysterio, even though I had issues with that. Tom Holland, once again, nails it as Spider-Man. He's great in the role. And it's a solid movie.
Yeah, I agree. It's the most solid Spider-Man movie.
Indeed.
Yes. This is the first, this is weird, because this is the first Spider-Man movie I don't feel as strongly about. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
No, this is the first one I was like, okay, I'm kind of excited, but not like, oh my god, I'm so excited to talk about this. But I'm not like Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'm like, I don't even want to talk about this piece of shit.
It's a shit movie.
Yeah, but this one. Oh, also, just a rant. Right when this movie came out, somehow this has become one of the most controversial Spider-Man movies.
Oh yeah, we were gonna talk about it. Yeah, this film's controversial for some reason, and we were talking about it the other day. I'm like, we got to talk about this when we get to this movie.
Yeah, how is this movie controversial? How is it?
I don't know, Jacob. What do you think?
I think it's the Iron Boy Jr. bullshit.
Yeah. Honestly. Again, it's back to those people who apparently didn't look in deeper to the movie's big point, which is Peter is not Iron Man. He is not going to be Iron Man. He might want to be like Iron Man, but he has to learn that he needs to be his own hero. That is the point of these two movies. If you don't get that, I can't help you.
No, if you just want to be an Iron Boy Jr. Hater, then alright, go ahead. But you're telling me that this is just as controversial as Spider-Man 3. Are you fucking kidding me?
Spider-Man 3 is not as good as this. I would say this film is better than Spider-Man 3, but that might make some people angry. And you know what? I'm sorry. I'm not saying Spider-Man 3 is bad. I actually like Spider-Man 3 considerably now. But it's not this film is not to that level. Or even Amazing Spider-Man 2. This is a way better made film, and it's way better acted.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Though I will say, since you mentioned Spider-Man 3, after watching, Chris Stuckman's opinion change, and even I watched High Top's video about Spider-Man 3, my heart has kind of softened over that movie.
Yeah, I've been the same way. It's kind of weird with Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Will I feel the same way about Far From Home? I don't know. But basically my view is this is the first Spider-Man movie that isn't astoundingly great, but it's not awful or just straight up memorably bad. Which again, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
No, it's just good.
Exactly.
Yeah, is it one of the best MCU movies? No. But is it one of their worst? Absolutely not.
Oh god, no. That'd be Thor the Dark World. I fucking hate that movie. That's look, I like most, if not all, of the MCU movies. I think all of them are pretty well-made movies. But Thor the Dark World, along with Captain Marvel maybe, is probably the closest film of the MCU that I just don't like. Even close to just utterly despising.
Oh, 100%.
But I'll wait till, we do Thor reviews, and we'll get Tyag on. Because he's Thor guy. And we'll all... that was another thing me and Carlton were disagreeing about the other day. I'm all like, bro... I'm like, you know what? I'll take Thor Ragnarok over that bland fest that was Thor Ragnarok. Or, not Thor Ragnarok. Thor the Dark World.
Yeah, I'll take the Guardians of the Galaxy wannabe film, even though I strongly disagree on that, Carlton, over the most bland and dull-ass movie I've ever seen in the MCU.
There's only, 2 good things about Thor the Dark World. Okay, maybe 3. 3! There's only 3 good things about that movie.
Yeah.
Jane Foster and Thor's relationship, Thor and Loki's relationship, and the final battle scene. That's it.
The rest of the movie sucks. The villain, everyone has forgot about the villain. He's even more forgettable than the Yellow Jacket, or I'm just gonna say most of the Ant-Man villains.
I'd just say Yellow Jacket's the worst MCU villain. But that's not even. This character isn't even fucking up there. He's just the most bland, forgettable, and is utterly disrespectful to Chris Eccleston of Doctor Who and the Leftovers fame.
Yeah.
Eccleston, he deserves better.
Because of how forgettable he is.
It's just... at least with Yellow Jacket, there's like a memorable reason why I utterly despise him and think he's the worst MCU villain ever. Which again, we'll get to if we ever do an Ant-Man review. But okay, we're getting a little off topic. In other words, I really don't like Thor: The Dark World.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you. The movie. Ugh.
I honestly can't wait for when we touch on Thor: The Dark World, so I can just go off on it, just how bad it is.
I'll just let you take the ground stage.
And it's not like it's like a hilariosity. It's just dull and derivative.
No, it's not like a Batman and Robin where it's like so bad it's hilarious. This is just bad.
It's boring.
Yeah, it's the most bland and dull MCU movie I've ever watched.
It's like, it's the most and the whole thing about the MCU is that they're always keeping people excited. It's like, this movie sucked. Okay. Well, I'm saving this for the Thor: The Dark World review because I'm just gonna go on a rant if I keep going. But yeah, Thor: The Dark World, it sucks. Don't watch it.
Yeah, don't.
Unless you want to see, like, if it were just Thor and Loki going around, it probably would have been a good movie. But it wasn't that.
It
was a bland movie about the darkness. They were just trying to do Lord of the Rings in an MCU movie.
But done so poorly.
But done badly. Except for those three things that I mentioned.
Yeah, the people who made Lord of the Rings would be offended.
Oh yeah, if I were Peter Jackson, I'd be like, what is this bloody shit?
Yeah.
But anyways. But Spider-Man Far From Home is a far superior film to Thor: The Dark World, you silly twats. There is nothing you can say to convince me otherwise. There is nothing worse than Thor: The Dark World. Maybe Captain Marvel. But Spider-Man Far From Home is a good movie. Oh, what were you saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Captain Marvel's pretty close to being terrible. But yeah, Far From Home, good movie. Has its flaws. Not a perfect movie, but still a really solid Spider-Man movie. Acting pretty good. The action sequences are amazing. Jon Watts' direction is pretty good. Mysterio, pretty good. Even though I have issues with him, but still pretty good. And Jake Gyllenhaal, love the guy. Yeah, overall, a decent movie. And once again, how is this movie controversial?
I don't know. I mean, it's not... I mean, I'll just say this. It's not as memorable as Spider-Man Homecoming, which, again, I think is the most underrated Spider-Man movie. But, yeah, this film is still pretty good. How is it controversial? It's because people, I guess, don't like the Spider-Man Tony Stark thing. Well, that's the whole point of the whole movies, man! Oh, my God. Okay, I'm gonna get mad about this. You want to just put this on rant alert? Well, you want to just rant about how Spider-Man Far From Home is the MCU Spider-Man movies for the rest of this video?
Yeah, let's just rant about it on how on why it's so controversial.
Okay, let's do this. Okay. Let me think about how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna say this because sometimes you gotta tread lightly in these situations. Because, I don't want to alienate fans of this show. Even though we don't really have a lot of fans, but we have some fans, and we're getting good views, at least for us. So I mean, we don't want to lose those.
Yeah.
But okay, I'll just put it this way: watch the movies and pay attention to them. Because when you start, when the Iron Boy Jr. people start spewing out their just ridiculous crap, I can't help but feel embarrassed for them. It's not even, you know what, that might sound mean, but dude, if you're gonna be so lazy and not pay attention to the movie and be like, oh, he's Iron Man's lapdog, oh, he's Iron Boy Jr. Shut up, okay? These movies, just pay attention to the movies.
Yeah, simply just watch them and pay attention to them, and maybe you'll understand.
Yeah, it's like just use your critical thinking. That is what your brain is for.
Yeah, don't just be like, oh, Iron Boy Jr., Far From Home. this movie sucks. No, watch the movies. If you were like High Top Films who were really disappointed by it, then okay, that's fine. You just don't really like this adaptation of the character, that's fine. But if you just watch like the first 10 minutes and saying like, oh, this movie sucks because Peter is Tony Stark's bitch or something.
Oh, he's always depending too much on Tony. The whole point of these movies is that he's trying to be his own hero. Man, did you not get that? Did you not understand that when you're watching this movie? That's the whole point of these movies.
Yeah, that's the whole point of Peter's story, is him stepping out of Iron Man's shadow to become his own goddamn hero.
Exactly. It's just...
It's something different, too.
Yeah, it's like, it's not like a bad thing. Like, you can't just have him go through Uncle Ben again.
Yeah,
though that is a little. Though I will give this to them, that is a little underdeveloped. Aside from that one really great scene in Homecoming, but I digress. But
what did you want them to do? Rehash the same old shit from the older movies? No, that's why the Amazing Spider-Man films bombed, because they basically copied the Raimi movies instead of make it different.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, you know why these movies work? Because it understands what Spider-Man is, but it doesn't like just copy the Raimi movies. It takes notes from the Raimi movies, but it doesn't like directly copy them like Amazing Spider-Man movies. It's asinine. These people are just like, oh, Iron Boy Jr. Oh, if you can't just like think about what the movie's about, again, I can't help you. I'm sorry. Just...
I can't even. How is this movie controversial? I don't know.
It's because Iron Man. It's because people... It's just some people don't like Peter's, like, relationship with, because they think it's disrespectful to Uncle Ben. Even though we had a scene where Peter didn't even have to say anything, but you could just see everything in his, mannerisms. Like, come on.
Yeah, like, come on.
It's so stupid.
Freaking break.
It's so dumb.
I can't even. Yeah, do I wish they would reference Uncle Ben more? Yes. But they don't just shit on him. Like the Amazing Spider-Man.
Is Uncle Ben underutilized in these movies? Yeah, he is. But it's not like... And again, if you're like High Top and you just don't love the adaptation in these movies, that's fine. Like, I'm not saying you can't dislike this movie. You can like and dislike whatever you want. It's just when... But when you're making arguments based on what the movie is trying to say, which is that Peter isn't Iron Man. He will never be Iron Man. But he needs to be his own hero. That's the point of these movies. It's
exactly.
It's ridiculous.
I can't even. That makes me so mad that people... controversial as Spider-Man 3. Nothing is as controversial as Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, nothing is as controversial as Spider-Man 3. Okay, don't... Yeah, I bet it's ridiculous. No one can be happy.
No, you can't make everyone happy.
Be more like us, guys. Oh. I feel a little better, but I'm probably going to get blasted in the comments, so it's fine. I can live with that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, oh, they're MCU fanboys. Well, you know what? Yeah, fine. I like the MCU, okay? It's better than the DCEU, but that's a whole other rant for some other time. Know what? I'm going to do that right now. Man, DCEU sucks. Why are they still trying to carry that? Why are they... It's like you're pissed. It's like you've beaten this guy up, and you're, like, still trying to milk him after he's, like... That's what the DC...
Yeah, exactly. You know why the DCU has sucked? It's because they tried rushing a bunch of stuff. The MCU had a plan. They started with the first Iron Man, started with the other solo superhero movies, then did the Avengers. No, not the DCU. They started with Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and now they're starting with Justice League. It felt so convoluted and just like, okay, this is like super rushed. That's why the DCU has been bombing lately. Or it has bombed.
Yeah. But I'll save that for another time. But back to the Spider-Man Far From Home. I like this movie, aside from our rant.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's a good movie. It's good. My least favorite of the MCU movies, but that doesn't mean it's a bad film. Like, it still has a lot of the charm and personality of Homecoming. Doesn't do it quite as well as Homecoming, no. But, yeah.
Still solid sequel.
Well, actually, speaking of the DCEU, I started the Zack Snyder Justice League finally, because I was very hell-bent on not seeing it. Because, as Jacob knows, I really detest a lot of Zack Snyder's films. Now, I'm not saying he's never made a good movie. I mean, 300's good. And his Dawn of the Dead remake's actually pretty good. So, anyone who might say I'm a Snyder hater, I'll just let you know right now. He has not made just bad movies. He has made good films. But he has made some utterly abysmal films. Like Sucker Punch, for instance. Which is still my most hated film of all time.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That movie's horrible.
I was talking to Tig about it the other day. He's like, man, and everyone's all like, man, that's not the worst film of all time. Okay, my least favorite film of all time. Okay, get on that. Good. But yeah, I started the Zack Snyder Justice League movie because, Jacob here was like, hey, maybe you should see it, I know you don't want to see it, but we'll see it. And I'm like, all right, fine. My buddy and our friend Carlton wanted me to see it. And I was like, no. And then finally he's just like, go see it. And I'm like, fine. So I put it on. It's a Zack Snyder movie. Like, I'm only like 3 parts in. I didn't even complete the whole movie. I'm hoping to complete it soon, but it's just, I don't know. I mean, I even called Jacob to like talk about it. I need to talk about this with somebody.
And it was amazing.
I was yelling at the movie half the time, so it's like, sorry, Carlton. I have a lot of problems with that movie.
Yeah, I was having a blast just hearing you just saying like, okay, this is pretty good, and you're like, okay, what the fuck is all this?
Yeah, I mean, this is why I didn't want to watch the Snyder Cut, because, I don't like giving bad reviews to things, as much fun as it is to tear apart a bad movie. I don't like, actively disliking movies. And I was at that point with Snyder where I'm like, you know what? I don't want to watch any of his movies anymore, because I don't like a lot of his movies. I really don't want... I feel like I'd be wasting my time when I could be watching, like, really good movies. And then, but, Carlton's like... And then Carlton, even Jacob here was like, oh, it's actually good. And I saw it, I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. And then it just gets to moments where you're just like... Ugh. Like, the first 5 minutes, I was yelling at the movie. Like, you can ask Jacob. I was yelling at it.
You even sent me a voice clip. It was so hilarious. You were like, we've already been in scene like 5 minutes. Just get to the point already.
Yeah, it's
hilarious. I mean, I had a blast hearing you kind of rant about it.
Literally, the first 5 minutes is like Superman going, and it's like going everywhere. And it's so obnoxious. You're just like... Look, I know Snyder loves the slow-mo, but my God, like, please stop. Like, it's getting a bit much. But, I know Zack Snyder tends to be a very what's the word? A very controversial figure in the comic book world. But yeah, Zack Snyder Justice League. It sounds like I hate this movie. I don't. I don't hate it. It's better. It's better than the Justice League. Joss Whedon, Zack Snyder. Abortion that was that movie. But again, it's a Zack Snyder movie. It has all the things about a Zack Snyder movie that I can't stand. Like lines that should sound cool, and they just come off as really forced and weird. And then we get like super slow-mo scenes, really pretentious dialogues, overly dramatic scenes. It's like... You can ask Jacob. I was complaining about it the whole time.
Yeah, and it was hilarious for me. I had a blast.
It's like... And I know people are probably going to be like, oh, you just hate Snyder movies. Even though I just explained like 5 minutes ago that he has made good movies. Like, I should just put it this way. The dude is really good when it comes to, like, visuals department. Keep him the fuck away from the writing room, and I think you'll get a good movie out of him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he is amazing when it comes to, like, visuals. And he actually does seem like a really nice guy in real life. But, he has made horrible films like Sucker Punch or Batman v Superman. But he also made some really good ones, like the Dawn of the Dead remake or 300.
Also, Dawn of the Dead was complemented by a great script from James Gunn, who's a good writer, so take that as you will.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't hate Zack Snyder. I don't know him, really. He seems like Jacob said, he seems like a nice guy. Just the things that annoy me about him is that he makes these really pretentious movies, and he thinks he's making these, like, really revolutionary movies, and he's not. And that just drives me nuts. And then when he makes decisions like Batman fucking murdering people, he doubles down on them. Like, he never goes like, oh, well, look, I get you might get defensive about your movie, but he just doubles down on it. He doesn't go like, okay, maybe I misstepped a little bit. Nope.
No. And even Superman, making him very somber and moody and super serious.
And angsty. Don't forget angsty.
Yeah, angsty.
I mean, again, he's a bit of a tricky subject in this type of thing, but, that's just my opinion, of course. You can tell me I'm a fucking idiot and I have a small penis, but, I'm just saying, I'm not... It's just, I don't like his movies. I didn't want to watch the Zack Snyder Justice League because I thought it wasn't going to be that good. And what do you know? I mean, it's better than the Justice League version, but I'm not into it, man. It just has all the shit that I don't like in his movies.
I will agree. Like, Zack Snyder, he thinks he's like the next Kubrick. Like, dude, no. Not even close.
He's like, you're not. And to even compare even, like, think you're even to that level is just, like, abysmal.
Yeah, it's just, like, insanity.
It's like, honestly, if one is to me, if someone who would be the next Stanley Kubrick probably wouldn't even consider the idea that they were the next Stanley Kubrick. But that's just my view on that.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I wanted you to watch it just to hear you kind of like rant about it.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, you bastard.
Yeah, I was when I get to hear Britton rant. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and then I remember I called him. I'm like, dude, why'd you make me watch this? He's all like, I just wanted to hear you yell about it. I knew you were probably gonna get mad at it. I'm like, you fuck. Like, when Carlton contacted me after I started watching it, I just, like, had to hold my composure a little bit. I was like, he's like, man, in that part, I'm like, yep, pretty good, yep. Because I don't hate it. I wasn't lying to him. I didn't think it was bad. It was just kind of like, ugh. It's a Snyder movie, man. That's all I can say.
It is a Snyder movie, even though I really liked it, but at the same time, I don't dislike Snyder as much as you do. But I'm open to anything, even the movies that I'm like not looking forward to. I still give them the benefit of the doubt.
I mean, I don't hate his movies. I should just know. I don't hate the guy. I just don't like his movies for the most part, except for some good ones he's made. He has made some good. He has done some good things.
Yeah, he just needs to work on his writing. Then I think he would be better, but he doesn't.
Like, if he gained more self-awareness about his place as, like, an artist, I think he could make better movies. Like, when he makes films like 300 or, Dawn of the Dead, where it's not, like, him waxing poetic and making these uber-dramatic shots, he's a good director. Like, he's fine.
Yeah.
But then he makes, like, these super melodramatic, wants to be these, like, serious art house films. They just come off as so contrived. Like, it's bad.
Yeah, contrived and pretentious.
Exactly. But anyways.
But at the same time, he can make, like, he can make a really fun movie, like Army of the Dead.
Like I said, I've given up on Zack Snyder. I mean, I'll just watch 300 and Dawn of the Dead 2004, and I'm good to go. Because, again, those are actually pretty good movies, Zack Snyder. And others. Anyway. I do wonder if they cast Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. Because, like, it just sort of as a meta thing as well, because, Jake Gyllenhaal was going to play Spider-Man for a little bit there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because Tobey Maguire he had some problems with his back during the film Seabiscuit. They didn't think he was going to recover, and Jake Gyllenhaal was going to take his place.
That would have been kind of weird, though. I mean, I think Jake Gyllenhaal would have done a good job, but that would have been kind of weird.
Yeah, it would have been interesting, to say the least.
But, yeah, that was our review on Spider-Man, Far From Home.
Mm-hmm. Good movie.
Good movie, yes. We're probably going to get some flack from this. I'll try and put the bullet points down to where we talk about the movie. I'll put the little rant alert there. And then I'll put on my Zack Snyder DCU talk thing. Which hopefully I'll save for an actual review of the Snyder Cut. Where it's probably I kind of don't want to do it because I don't want I don't want it to just devolve into a shouting contest. But yeah, we may discuss the Snyder Cut at some point, but not right now though, because we're kind of in the midst of this Spider-Man thing.
Yeah.
So next week I'm very excited, once again, because we're going to be discussing, in my opinion, the best Spider-Man live-action film since Spider-Man 2. And I'm not even bullshitting. Spider-Man.
Hell yeah.
Spider-Man, No Way Home. I can't wait.
Yes, I cannot wait.
Oh, man. Also, we have decided that Spider-Man No Way Home will be the last episode of our Spider-Thon. We were thinking about doing Into the Spider-Verse, but, I'm starting to kind of feel a little worn out from talking about all these superhero movies, as much fun as it has been revisiting all these movies. But, we wanted to talk about some other movies on here. It's not just MCU stuff. We would have called it Brit and Jake Watched MCU.
Yeah.
But, unless you do want to talk about Into the Spider... Unless you changed your mind along the way.
No, as much as I love Into the Spider-Verse, I just want to talk about a different movie after No Way Home. Just kind of take a break from talking about comic book movies, as much as I love my comic book movies.
Oh, yes, most definitely. I enjoy them. And we enjoy them, really. But, yeah. But we're talking about No Way Home next week, which will be our last episode of our Spider-Man-a-thon. No, it'll be very sad. But it has been fun talking about Spider-Man movies. But hopefully we'll go out with a bang, because spoiler alerts, we love No Way Home.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree with you what you said. Best live-action Spider-Man film since Spider-Man 2, and without a doubt, the best MCU Spidey film.
Oh, most definitely. It's the best MCU Spidey movie that's come out so far.
And there's a lot I want to say about it when we talk about it next week. I can't wait.
Oh my god, I can't wait either. I mean, these last couple of movies have been pretty taut, but this one's going to be pretty... I'm sure it'll be a bit longer.
Oh, maybe even 3 hours.
Oh god. Not that long. Jesus. Oh, man. But Spider-Man Far From Home. Spoiler alerts, it was a pretty good movie.
It was a good movie. Solid sequel.
A solid sequel to an excellent and thoroughly underrated predecessor.
Oh, for sure.
Seriously, No Way Home is a underrated classic. I'm just saying that right now.
No Way Home?
Fuck, no! Ugh, Homecoming! Damn it! I meant Homecoming! God!
It's like, No Way Home just came out.
I was about to say, well, No Way Home is you know, it's already been... It's already being called one of the best Spider-Man films ever. And I'd agree.
100%.
I can't wait to touch on this, because we both just were in love with this movie.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, boy.
And I mean, it's like, it's so good. It's so good. I can't wait to talk about it.
Me too. Man, I'm so excited.
I mean, we could spend next hour just talking about how great it is, but again, I want to wait till next week, because that'll be fun. And we're going to be talking about a phenomenal Spider-Man movie once again. It's one of the things I like about the Spider-Man movies. Either you really love them, or you really hate them. Except for this one. It's just good.
Yeah. The only Spider-Man movie that's just good.
Yeah. Which, again, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but, you know, I guess we'll figure that out as time goes along. So, yes. So, yeah, that was Spider-Man Far From Home. We both liked this movie. I mean, I'm not as good as A Homecoming, I don't think. But, it is a good movie, though. With a excellent cast who has plenty of chemistry together.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
And we also got Jake Gyllenhaal. We also got a strong villain once again. That's really the good thing about these Spider-Man MCU movies. The villains are very strong in all three of these movies.
Yeah, all three of them. Villains are very strong.
And usually the MCU are not known for their villains, which is probably why I like the MCU Spider-Mans more than a lot other than more people might. I don't know. But yes. But yes, so that was Spider-Man Far From Home. I've been Britton.
And I've been Jacob.
And we do this for the love of the movies.
Yes, we do.
At least for right now. Oh man, No Way Home. That's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, can't wait for next week.
Until next time, ladies and gentlemen.
Goodbye.